What is going on there, gamers, gamettes, and everyone in between? Yes. I know we've had a great Thanksgiving. We've all been fat. We've all been full. And unfortunately, some of our family members are still gigantic tools. But that's neither here nor there because we are on the other side. We've made it to December, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! It's Mariah Carey time. But before we get to her and defrosting her bones, we need to actually talk about the host. That's right. And I'm not talking about me. We already know I've been good. You guys have been following me on Twitter. But we need to talk about the comedic genius himself, the man who's never been any less informed than any other human being on this planet, because he's always more informed. He is the pinnacle of what we like to call the Rolodex of information. Subtle Fraudulence, how you doing, buddy? You doing good? You feeling good? You look like you're in good spirits, good health?
Well, I'm actually, for once in my life, wishing that I was in Florida, the land where you might meet people who actually think the "Let's Go Brandon" rap song is a good piece of music. Like it's crazy.
Look, Florida Man's musical tastes are not to be questioned because anything Florida Man does is clearly just bass backwards at this point. Like, let's be honest here, folks. When is the last time you've ever seen the report of Florida Man and doing good? It's at a point now where I feel as though the outlying states, like your Georgias and your Floridas, anything that even touches any small little piece of the Florida peninsula, will find itself having their strangers as well. Because let's face it, folks, they travel. They get around.
Damn.
And unfortunately, it may not be them right now, but trust me, the Omicron virus it's here. Whether you want to call it Omarion, whether you want to call it Omniman, whether you want to call it Omi-Chan, somehow, some way, this thing Corona-Chan has evolved, okay? And it's not good. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for you. This is a no bueno zone. And unfortunately, we're all stuck in it because people don't know how to take care of themselves for the greater good and for themselves. Like, even on an individual case-by-case basis, it sucks. It really sucks. And it won't be long now because we already see Biden's up there talking about you got to bring back the mask full time, even when you're just doing your dailies. And, as much as I like doing my daily side quest, the fact is we already know people aren't going to listen. The mask mandates are not going to be followed yet again. And somehow we're going to find ourselves in the loop-de-looping pool. And somehow we're not in school because the kids are going to be staying home. At this point, they're going to be 18-year-olds with ninth grade educations because them last 3 years is not happening for them because they staying at home. They ain't learning, not an iota, not even a little bo peep of education is going into their brain. It's not happening because I've seen how some of these lesson plans are handled in the curriculum when they're learning from home. And let me tell you something. A lot of it is, I'm paying attention. Yep, that's me. Paying attention. Yep. What'd you say? Yeah, And they over here watching like Misadventures of Gumball or something to that effect. They're not even paying any lick of attention to the teachers. It's wild out there.
Hey, man. Whoa. I won't let you sit there and insult learning at home because a wise and beloved man by the name of Elon Musk has recently said that learning is easy and that learning is free and that school is just for fun. College is just for fun. Kids, like, you can learn anywhere. You can learn at any time. It doesn't cost you very much.
I mean, with the advent of YouTube and the many tutorials that you can find on just about anything on there, technically not wrong. You can learn anything, anywhere, as long as you're dedicated enough to whatever the craft may be. But, and this is like a big Nicki Minaj Brazilian butt lift size butt here, you got to understand that when you have like a regular traditional 9 to 5, or if you're someone who has to juggle a few hats, like being a parent, being a full-time worker, in some cases being a student, you don't necessarily have the free time to learn everything and have all the hours of the day at your exposure. You can't just do everything at your leisure. You can't juggle an infinite amount of things within a 24-hour time period. You just can't do that. I understand breaking things down bit by bit, but it's tough. It's no easy thing, man.
I don't think you were hearing me. What you need to do, if you are a single parent, all you need to do is just leave the kids at home, and they'll be able to learn on their own. While you got to go and take care of whatever it is you do. You see, yeah, all you got to do is what? Give them an iPad, and then they'll learn the wonders of the world, and then they'll buy Bitcoin, and then they'll become rich, just like Elon Musk. Don't you want your kids to be just like Elon Musk?
Yeah, but let me walk you down a dark and more sinister timeline, one that we have seen that lives closer to us. You leave your teenagers unsupervised, unparented. You leave them out there in the wilds of the internet. They will somehow eventually find their ways to the shadow realm. Now, some of y'all may not know what I'm talking about, but recently here a 14-year-old girl was shot and killed by her brother, who was making and selling guns. Georgia sheriff says. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 14-year-old girl cut down before her prime, cut down in her youth, cut down as an adolescent.
But she was the one making the guns.
Actually, no. She wasn't the one making the gun full time. She may have made that one. But, spoiler alert here, you may be saying, what type of sick, dastardly son of a bitch would let their younger sister play with guns, let alone make them? And how could this have happened? What type of sicko brother would do this? Well, here comes the spoiler and the kick in the ass. Call M. Night Shyamalan. I'm sure he's going to write a story about this. Did you know that the sister was the older sibling? Yeah, I'm just as shocked as you. Turns out it was the 13-year-old younger brother. Authorities have arrested Kyra, who is the 14-year-old girl in questions, 13-year-old brother, and a 19-year-old unaffiliated with the family named Yusef Jabril Mikatha El, one of the two people who had come by to buy the homemade gun. The sheriff's office said in a news release that the 13-year-old has admitted to the shooting, Pound said, and the 13-year-old has been charged with felony murder. The sheriff's office said in a statement that MacArthur L. has been charged with robbery and felony murder. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, how the fuck did we even get here? This doesn't even make any sense. Well, the 13-year-old thought he can make a quick buck by manufacturing fake guns. And by fake guns, I mean ghost guns, which are real guns that are not actually fake, but just bought with random assorted parts that you find on the internet, and then you can assemble them together as long as you know how to build and assemble a gun, and then sell them as untraceable guns out there on the market. And well, Yusef Jabril was one of the few people that took them up on that offer, but things didn't go down as smooth because once Jabril found out that it was a 13-year-old selling him the gun, he said, well, I'm just gonna steal it. What's the 13-year-old gonna do? I'm gonna give him the hands if he tries to dare foil my plans. It's not going down like that. And for whatever reason, somehow this is all going down at the household. Like, I just don't understand, like, where are the parents? Like, what are we doing? Like, or is there, like, a chain of command in the household? Is anybody talking to the right people? I just want to know where the connections are. Because somehow when the dots get connected, you got people coming in and out of your house, buying things from your 13-year-old child and your 14-year-old child. And it seems like y'all have at no point had any parental checkpoints through any of these transactions, but I digress. So once the robbery took place and they were going to dip out with the stolen merchandise, you know, the guns that were assembled by a 13-year-old boy, he decides he's going to take justice into his own hands. And he's going to start firing back. But instead of hitting Yusef and the other assailant, he hit his sister, which led her to go to the hospital, being in critical condition. And let's just say our best in the medical staff and the medical profession could not do enough to circumvent the inevitable death that she would succumb to due to the gunshot wound. Anybody else see this as like a problem? Anybody else see this as a bit weird? Like 13-year-olds assembling guns, because getting gun parts is not a hard thing. You can go just about anywhere you can buy some aftermarket parts, and you could just buy whatever the fuck you want. And if it just so happens to be put together and makes a gun, I mean, who's to say that's technically anybody's fault, right? It's just someone who wants to be educated, someone who wants to make a quick buck, pick themselves up by their bootstraps, as many of you like to say. And here we are. So, yes, learning is easy. It's what you do with that knowledge is where the hiccups normally pop on in.
Well, you see, that's what happens. They were going after the American dream, and they were shut down by their own incompetence. could they do this? You see? As
Well,
some would say.
look, when you're 13, right? We all did stupid shit at 13. Some of us have done stupid shit at 17. Some of us have done dumb shit yesterday, okay? Like,
some of us are doing dumb shit right now.
yeah, as you're listening to this Clout.Wav episode, and thank you all for tuning in, but if you're doing dumb shit, I highly advise that you stop it. And if you can't stop it, well, we just hope that you can tune in next week in good bodily health. But that said, I want to say, isn't it kind of wild? Like a 13-year-old, someone who obviously wouldn't be able to pass any background checks because we'd be able to find out that you're 13 within like nanoseconds, is somehow able to assemble all these parts just ordering online in order to build guns and then selling like the quote unquote gun laws have been bypassed by a 13-year-old. If anybody needs any further clarification. All right.
Yep.
Like when it came to how we handle guns in this country, let me just say, we didn't send our best. We never have. We never will. And I'm not sitting here saying that, the strictest of gun laws would protect you from this. Not saying
that's the problem with the discourse when it comes to that whole argument when it comes to guns rights. Like it's not about if it's going to prevent every single possible like situation of a gun killing someone or anything like that. It's about making it happen as little as possible. These situations right here where you have like a 13-year-old who shot a 14-year-old, more likely to not happen. First off, they're not going to get the parts because they're underage. It's just not going to happen unless their parents somehow were involved in this, which of course people are going to be like, where were the parents? How did they not know that these kids, had, this and that? Who knows? There are tons of shitty parents out there, and we never talk about that when it comes to people, like kids who do crimes in any sort of capacity. There are tons of shitty parents out there.
It only takes you 30 minutes of having the TikTok app installed on your phone to find out how many shitty parents are out there. Okay,
you're right.
It's quite the alarming sample size. All right, just didn't want to interrupt, but I had to say it. But continue.
There's also tons of like good parents who are too busy trying to provide for their kids to even like be there to prevent these things from happening. Usually, yeah, they have someone who's supposed to watch the kids, but we were all kids once. We had ways of dealing with this, whatever, right? But I digress. People are always making this argument of like, oh, well, if you take away, the guns or you make it harder for people to buy guns, they won't be able to protect themselves from the criminals who just get guns illegally. And it's like, if it's harder to get guns in general, it would not be easier to get guns illegally because they would still have to go through, whatever black market channels they would have to go through to get these guns. And considering the fact that we have things like, I don't know, an entire like police force that's dedicated to figuring out how people get these things and stopping them from happening, it wouldn't be easy for criminals to get those things. And also, if you're like equating everything on like a criminal who's going to get a gun illegally, they're going to get the gun illegally no matter what. It doesn't matter what laws are put in place. You can never stop that from happening because that's this like whole idea of a thing where they're not doing it the right way. And you're saying, oh, if I don't get it, if they do it the wrong way, then I won't be able to protect myself. If you want to protect yourself that bad, you could also do it the wrong way. You could also obtain the gun the wrong way. If you think it's that easy, you could also go through those channels, whatever, right? But, if we limit the amount of people who are too incompetent to operate a firearm, something that could kill someone, like, we'll just have more situations like, what we're going to talk about later with, the kid who clearly was disturbed and took his dad's gun and was like, I'm going to give him the bliggity, bow, 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 whatever, right? It's annoying that we always get like derailed from having the conversation we need to have about these things because someone shows up and goes, well, what about my family? Someone's got to protect my family. It's like, the police can protect your family. You can also protect your family. Like, you're not going to be not allowed to get a gun. Do you think that you're incompetent?
Like some of these, some of these people, like, you gotta understand. In some of these states, it's easy to get a gun than it is others, and sometimes there have been cases where you have people who are obvious should be nowhere near anything that could potentially even take somebody else's life away. There's some people we shouldn't even be letting drive vehicles. Shouldn't be able to pull out of a parking lot. shouldn't be able to put the car in neutral, into drive, and then get out of their driveway. It shouldn't happen. But somehow some of those people find their way into legally purchasing firearms. Now, when people go through illegal channels, yes, we need to start cracking down on that a bit more. But the legal channels need to do a bit better job of, vetting these people.
Yeah. It's all about the vetting process. Like,
because of
no
a
one's trying to take your
13-year-old
guns away.
Because if a 13-year-old could circumvent all this.
You're right. Then the system is not good enough.
It's mad flawed. I'll tell you, there's definitely some chinks in the armor. There's definitely some head scratcherooskies going on out there.
Because we're all talking about, like, people obtaining these guns illegally. These kids were aiding in that process by buying parts and then, like, illegally creating their own guns, or ghost guns as they're called, and like actually selling them to people. So if the kids weren't allowed to even buy the materials or to obtain the materials like legally, if they would have to like have done it through like an adult that would be aiding these kids who would just be like, a shitty person or whatever, then you wouldn't have these illegal guns that are out there in the first place. Someone wouldn't be able to buy the gun from the 14-year-old who was selling the gun. None of that shit would happen. Like,
hey, you gotta understand, like, the guns in this situation aren't even the most dangerous part of this story. Like, this is legit a 13-year-old inviting grown men who are looking to be armed with a gun that cannot be traced and inviting them to their front door.
Right.
To engage in commerce. Like, what are we doing here, folks? Like, yeah, the guns, sure. Bad. Very bad. We all agree on that. I don't think anybody's really going to be up in arms about, like, how this turned out being a good thing. We all know it's a bad thing. But having these grown people who are clearly up to no good pulling up to the house, I don't even like it when family members who I don't like pull up to my house, much less strangers who I know are up to no good pulling up to my crib talking to the children. Like,
it always makes me think of like movies like Strangeland, where we had the whole like internet like panic thing about like AIM and MSN Messenger and stuff like that, of like, oh, if you talk to random people on the internet in these chat rooms, they're gonna kidnap you and kill you. And it's like, we've come to a point where kids are just straight up like, oh, you want to come to my house? Oh, you want to buy a gun? Yeah, sure, come through. What are you talking about? And they're like, hey, yo, you got the piece for me? All right, cool. Take it and then leave. Like, we have come so far to also like just kind of like create these weird like apocalypse like eras or timelines that people were afraid of years and years ago. Now you've got kids who are selling guns to like adults and whatnot. Kids who are making their own guns and selling them to adults, and it's like you can't even like think about the whole like, oh, what if they kidnap the kid? It's like, the kid's probably not thinking about that, and the dude's probably not like, I'm gonna kidnap this kid. It's like, yo, I got a gun, I'm gonna go rob a bank. Like, we can't.
Hey, there's some dudes around the way who jumped me last week. I'm about to spin the block on them. Like,
right, exactly. Like, we can't worry about the kids getting kidnapped because we have to worry about how they got pieces to create guns, and then also like how they have operate like fully functional guns that they can use to shoot each other with. Like, the layers to this problem are just it's just too much, man.
And if they're testing how it works, we need to talk about how they got so much bulk ammunition. Like, there's a lot of pieces of this that should be discussed.
How they got customers in the first place? Like,
it's like how was their marketability? Like, were they out here doing infomercials, or were they going to some specific websites that a 13-year-old probably shouldn't be navigating and be like, hey, so well, you're Yusuf, is that your name? I got this nice voluptuous vixen. We'll call her AK-47, and it's hot. It's waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? We got little aftermarket parts on there. We got a little skedaddly on it, but it's all good. Believe me. My address is, and then you just drop your own address. Like, man, I've seen enough episodes of Chicago PD to know where this is going.
Like, it's mind-boggling that this is happening, and the sad thing is, after all the like gun-related things that have happened this week alone, nothing's gonna change. Nothing's really gonna change. Like we're not really because we've got a situation where we're focused on something that was put in place or getting overturned, like Roe v. Wade getting overturned. We got to focus on that right now because it's like, well, we had a law that's dealing with this, like that's dealing with like choice versus what was it, pro choice versus pro life, arguments and whatnot. And now they're like, yeah, we're gonna like change that now because we don't agree with one ideology. We want the other ideology to exist, even though pro-choice makes it so that it's not necessarily everyone's out here killing babies or anything like that. It's just like people can actually like have autonomy. They can like choose, hey, this is not the best decision for me. Or hey, my life is in danger, so I need to like, do this, whatever. Or hey, I'll be a shitty parent who ends up like raising a 13 and 14-year-old who may sell guns to people and shoot each other. Like, whatever. All these things.
Because I mean, it wasn't too long ago where, what was it, in Texas? I think it was in Arlington High School. Like, there was a dude, the Jerome Simpkins kids. I don't know if you remember this. Or was it Timothy Simpkins? I want to say it was Timothy Simpkins. See, what happened with him, because the story is really weird, because it turns out he was getting bullied. Apparently, there's a video of him being stripped, ass naked, and beat up. And, basically getting jumped and mollywopped, pretty much on the daily. Like, when it came to going up against his demons or his bullies in school, he stood no chance. It just wasn't going down for him. So then he pulled out the blicky. He didn't kill anybody, but he hit a couple people. A teacher tried to break it up, and the teacher got hurt. But ultimately, clearly, we have a bit of a problem with guns somehow just automatically just falling into the wrong hands. Now, granted, in some of these cases, it's a gun that was obtained legally by a parent.
Right.
But it wasn't put up or held under lock and key or put out of the way. It was somewhere left wide out in the open. And then somebody decides, hey, it's my time to shine. But here's the thing, right? I've always just really wanted, because I own guns. I'm not going to tell you how many, but we definitely own guns, plural, in this house. We will be.
You have a right to do that, and that's fine.
Like I believe that everyone has that right. And if you want to exercise it, you should. But there's a part of being responsible that isn't just trigger discipline, okay? There's a part of being responsible where you got to make sure that little lasses and lads, little toddlers, little teenage Jimmy, someone who's not trained or authorized to even have any sort of gun safety knowledge or even know how to break down a gun, assemble a gun, doesn't know what type of ammo goes in which gun. Like, there are a lot of different things that I feel as though should be taught before anyone even begins to put a rifle or firearm in somebody's hands. And for you to have people in the house who do not have that knowledge and have the gun within arm's reach on a nightstand or a table or in a drawer, and where everyone in the household, even the ones who are not experienced, know where it's at and can easily get access to it, you're failing. You're not doing a good job. This is a gigantic L, because I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, little Timmy, little Samantha, they never reach for it. And then when they do, now it's like, so why wasn't it put in a safe? Why was it not put somewhere out of reach? Why was it not put in a secret location that only you knew about? Why was it not left in your glove compartment of your car where you only have access to the key? Why, there's a myriad of questions we can start asking you, because I believe that you are responsible as the adult in these situations. Like, you got to do better, guys. You got to do much better.
You know what I think is like part of the reason why, things like this keep happening now? You and I, we grew up in an era where we had, the after school special. Right,
do not talk to me about advanced class, bro. My God,
we are literally at a point in time where there is a generation that doesn't even know what the after school special really was, and all the things that we got from those, where it was like, oh no, Jimmy, you can't go online and just talk to anybody. It could be a 40-year-old man who will kidnap you. You can't just get into a van with someone who's offering you candy. It could be a 40-year-old man who's going to kidnap you, or a 40-year-old woman who's going to kidnap you. Whatever, right? The equivalent of that now is like Dar Man videos, which are like which are absolutely like even for after school specials, they're just absolutely ridiculous situations that just happen. Of like, oh no, this person is bullying me on a bus. Now the bus driver is gonna is gonna get mad at them and kick them off the bus. Serves you guys right. Karma's happening. It's like, okay, sure, but like, we don't have all these things.
I do think YouTube is definitely responsible for a lot of these younger generations people's warped worldview. Because some people, they really be thinking they like the protagonist. Like, stuff just can't happen to them.
Right. Common knowledge is not common knowledge anymore because we've like gotten past the generation who like grew up hearing like, oh yeah, you shouldn't do this, this, and that. I mean, everybody knows you shouldn't do, you shouldn't just walk outside and just stand in the street. You'll get hit by a car. Now it's like, some people are like, oh, I didn't know that. It's like, what? You've never seen a car before? I mean, I just didn't know that someone wouldn't just stop and not hit me with their car. It's like,
I mean, look, right. I'm going to tell you right now, some of our generation didn't sound our best because I had this boy named Zach. This was like, I want to say like back when I was like in 8th grade. Somebody said Jesus Christ. And my man thought it was like an expression. And what I mean by that is he didn't know Jesus Christ. He didn't know anything about like the religion. He didn't know Jesus was like a thing. He didn't know anything about the fact that there's a Christ figure. He thought Jesus Christ was just like, like when you say Jiminy Cricket, which also is a thing.
School.
You would think that.
Actually, pause real quick. Do they still teach that in grade school now?
Well, you gotta remember, there's a separation of church and state, and you know that a lot of these new I keep wanting to call them like these new kids on the block, but the next generation, they have definitely further implemented that into their schools.
We had like separation in church and state like existed during our era, but like we still had like
when we grew up, we still said one nation under God. That part's omitted now. I mean, that's part's redacted.
I mean, so like, that's for reasons because you got those crazy people.
No, I get that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Personally, I didn't give a fuck about it either way when it disappeared. My point is, if they're getting rid of that, then I can only assume, because I'm not a toddler, so I'm not like in pre-K and kindergarten. I'm not there. I would assume that religion wouldn't be something that necessarily comes up unless one of your peers is like wearing a yarmulke and it's like, oh, what's with your hat? Oh, I'm blah blah blah. I'm Jewish. Da da da. Oh, that's what you believe? Well, that's the only way I can see it really coming up in an organic way, because I honestly think it'd be weird if a teacher just started pulling up. It's like, oh, son, you gotta believe in your boy Jesus, like that.
See, but this is the common knowledge thing that I'm talking about, because
there are no more universal knowledges. That doesn't happen.
Because like the whole reason that we had the the situation of like teaching the basics of like the 3 big religions in school was so that these kids who will interact with these people who have these different beliefs or whatever will understand them enough to like respect those people, instead of it being a situation where it's like, oh, I don't know why this kid's wearing a yarmulke. I don't know why this is happening here. My parents told me that Jesus is the one. So why is that kid talking about Allah over there? And that kind of shit. And then they like become like insane with rage, and they're like, he's not talking about Jesus. He doesn't like Jesus. He's an infidel. All that nonsense.
To be fair, there are plenty of people who are in our generation and before that who are that person. So.
Yeah, I don't think people didn't go to school. Let's be real.
No. There are definitely some people who went to school and still turned it into that. What? How dare you? You don't believe in Jesus. Like, trust me, there's people who graduated and are like this.
Like, there's nothing wrong with teaching like the objective like aspects of these religions without it being like propagandized or anything like that.
I agree with you, and I do think that they probably still do learn that to some effect. But you got to understand.
But that kind of nuance is like lost with the
a lot of nuance is lost. Have you seen how they changed math, bro? It's different out there, dude.
I mean, math. We ain't need all that X and Y and stuff, man.
No, I'm not even talking about that.
2 plus 2, bro. No.
When I found out that in Common Core, this is how they teach math: 3 times 5 and 5 times 3 are different. Once you started saying stuff like that, I was like, just cancel it. Because Okay, so let me explain. I'm anybody who is like coming up, and if you're young and you've had to teach Common Core or you were taught Common Core, this is essentially what it is. If you see a math problem that says 3 times 5 and it wants you to show your work, right? You're showing your work. You could not write 5 times 5, or excuse me, 5 plus 5 plus 5. You couldn't do that to show your work for 5 3 times. You couldn't do it. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, that's weird. Why would you? What's wrong with that? Because if it's 3 times 5, you have to do 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3.
3 plus 3, yeah.
If you do 5 plus 5 plus 5, your teacher's going to say, nah, sorry, wrong answer.
I mean, for that particular instance, it's only wrong because of the 3 in front, and they want to see the breakdown of like you understanding that it's either 3 plus 3 plus 3, whatever, or 5 plus 5 plus 5. But
Look,
being
man,
like, oh, it's wrong. You got to give them partial credit.
Nah, look, man. When we grew up, we didn't have that. Showing the work was either way.
I mean, yeah, because either
like,
way is right.
The fact that they changed that up, it's just like y'all are just adding steps because your curriculum didn't have enough pitfalls for a student. Clearly,
yeah, it's not necessarily going to like teach them in a better way for you to be like, no, it's wrong this way. It's actually probably going to be like more worse because it's actually going to be worse because they might see that and be like, no, wait, no, you're wrong over here, guy. And it's like, okay, did you ever think that maybe they give you the same exact result? And then we have people who like don't even think about that aspect of it because why would they? They were taught, one way is wrong, the other way is right, even though both are right. Oh man, that's a societal thing.
Yeah, like you can have multiple things and be okay, but as you know, there's a lot of people out there who are not going to ever tell you that both or whatever multitude ways there are all fine. They're like, no, this is the way. This is it. GG's, shake my hand. Because that's all you're getting out of me. And unfortunately, how much that carries on in the schools, couldn't tell you. I haven't been in school for a while. And if we're being honest with you, the stuff that I see, if what we see on television is any sort of insight to what the kids are getting in terms of their pop culture, that's not good. I'll tell you that right now. That's number one.
We should put less focus on things like, oh, this is how, math should be changed. And, we should make sure that they don't learn about only God in the schools and all this stuff. And focus more on things like, why don't we have like, I don't know, like propaganda like course so the kids can learn whether or not their TikTok video is actually trying to radicalize them. Like I'm pretty sure if they learn that at a young age, they can be like, oh, I shouldn't just trust this outright. This
like I feel like the world is changing, and I feel like because anybody who's my age or we've all heard this one before. Remember to cite your sources, and Wikipedia is not a source. I think y'all really got to start beating into these people's heads that just because you see it on TikTok and it's made by someone with a lot of followers or clout, you can't just trust their words. You got to do some research.
Let's put it this way. Instead of just being like, Wikipedia is not a source, you should also say Wikipedia is not a source because anyone can go there and just write whatever. Now, the sources that are listed in Wikipedia can be a source as long as you make sure
they never once told us that. I'll tell you that
exactly,
right now.
Exactly. That's why I did that show all the time. I was just like, oh, this Wikipedia article is right. All right. What are the sources? Boom. These are my sources right here. The sources of the Wikipedia article.
Exactly. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how many of y'all out there have not known that, but if you go to the bottom little footer area of a Wikipedia page, and you see those little superscript numbers, yeah, those are all the sources. So when you read a statement and you see the number next to it, you scroll down, find the corresponding number. That's the source. Bada boom, bada bing. You've done your thing and you've done the research. But once again, we're getting a little sidetracked there. But unfortunately,
Because they make it sound like Wikipedia is like Facebook or something, where they just, you can just say whatever the fuck you want, and then Wikipedia will not check shit. It's like, no, Wikipedia checks it. That's where they're like, hey, list your sources, sir. Like, eventually they're just like, hey, this is actually a lie. Well, we're gonna go ahead and delete this now. Like, they have real humans who are like, hey, this is a lie. We're gonna go ahead and delete
trust
this
me,
now.
the updates on Wikipedia can happen in real time, because I don't know if y'all remember when your boy Hassan Haskins dominated the Ohio State University in the Michigan versus Ohio State game last Saturday. They changed the owner of the Ohio State University to aforementioned Hassan Haskins. So within real time, somebody else is now the dean of the school, who clearly plays football at another school. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and this is not something that's necessarily uncommon. Like, the Wikipedia pages get ransacked every day. I'm sure there's some obscure page that no one really ever looks at that's probably been hit and is going to be hit for months.
Those are probably the pages that Derek, whatever his name is, a boy who shot up his school, was looking at and was believing. That really got him thinking that he's edgy boy supreme, and that the dark forces of whatever are gonna like imbue him with the power to cleanse the world of all the evil and all the things that have made him feel bad.
Not all the evil things that'll make him feel bad.
Bro,
This sounds like a really garbage, and I mean hot doo-doo butter version of some Lemony Snicket plot. Like, a series of unfortunate events getting a spinoff series. Is that what's about to happen, bro? Because that's not what I want.
It's just one of those things where someone will watch a series of unfortunate events and be like, "That's real. That's what's happening right now. Someone actually has those dark forces to their capabilities." And
let me tell you right now. You heard it here first. Fiction is not real. Let me say it again. Fiction is not real. And the reason why I say that is because I think some people, I don't want to use the word indoctrinated. I feel like that's like over embellishing it here. I think that's like putting 100 on 10 there, but I don't really want to believe it, but I know it's true. There's some people who will watch a fictional work and somehow come out of it with a message that they are now superior to someone, that they are better than someone, that they are now allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to do someone just because they're different, just because they saw like the Avengers or some shit. Well, if Thanos could do it, then why can't I? Obviously, to an infinitely less degree than destroy all or half of the life on fucking the universe, but there are some people who see shit and think they can use that to justify some of their bullshit in real life. I mean, let's face it, folks. Do y'all remember this movie called South Central? Do y'all remember the Chronicles of OG Bobby Johnson? There's people who watch that movie. They watched it. They watched the movie about a man who wanted to be the best for his community, although making a few missteps along the way, goes to jail, and now his son is out there running with the miscreants, running with the dregs of the city, and you find out that his former homie now takes over the gang, and now he's got his son boosting stereos. Now, while he's in jail, his son gets shot in the chest with a shotgun. Pa-pa. Not hot BBs. Real lead. Pa-yow. And he survives, but he still wants to put on for the gang. He still wants to do hood shit with his friends, while this man is in jail, coming to terms with the street shit is stupid. My friends is getting hopped up on dope. My wife's a crackhead. My son's out there getting shot at on the daily. I got to get better. I got to level this up. So, he's starting to get his education up. He's starting to understand that this isn't the way to be. Being a gangster is not a good life. Like, who wants that? All I want to do is get a second chance with my son and live a good life and just, live in peace. Just be better, do better, blah, 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 the whole nine. They will watch that movie, seeing that entire plot line of when he finally gets out, confronts his friend, has that heart-to-heart of, look, man, our parents never did anything for us. Our dads always put us out there right in the trenches, but I always wanted more. You always wanted more. Let me give that to my son. And then they get that ending, him and his son and his girlfriend, they go off and they're going to try to do better. They're starting from the bottom and they're trying to work their way up, but he has a new lease on life and he has a son back. They watch that movie and think, Damn, being a street cat kind of clean, bruh. I want to be the next OG Bobby Johnson, bruh. Like, hello? Did we watch the same program? So to be honest, like people can watch whatever they want, and they will just pull whatever they want from it.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right about that. And that's what's up.
It's like OG Bobby Johnson didn't even want to be OG Bobby Johnson anymore. But somehow, some way, people think that being in the streets is what it's all cracked up to be, because most of these street rappers that y'all be hearing about, as soon as they get any sort of, chance to get out of the streets, when the record deals actually start paying up and they start seeing the fruits of their labor in the booth, and those dividends start popping, a lot of them, you don't be seeing them in the hood anymore. You don't. And in some cases, the ones where you do see them actually go back to the hood, try to make their city a better place, try to put on for their people, try to teach their people to be better, trying to move along and trying to show some progression, they kill them. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, we got to stop this. I know this is like a different tangent, but what I'm trying to say is people will pull any negative from anything just for the sake of the fact they can.
Yeah.
Honestly. And honestly, think that they're right. And that's one of the scariest things of all.
But like, people are also getting swayed to thinking those things because of certain things that they see, like either surrounding that movie, surrounding that character, so whatever.
Steven Universe gonna have people going crazy, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh my god.
Because look. I have said this before on this podcast. My little cousin loves Steven Universe, so I have seen just about every episode. I think they came out with like another epilogue season. Didn't see that yet. I'm sure he's gonna make me watch it at some point. But the fact of the matter is, from what I can tell,
Steven Universe Future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. It
was like a thing that happened after, right?
Yeah, it was an epilogue season. That's all it was.
Okay. So, but what I learned from that show is, it doesn't matter how heinous your actions. It doesn't matter how despicable you are. It doesn't matter if you've even killed before. It doesn't matter if you've beaten someone to death. It doesn't matter if you've done all this type of stuff for years, lied about it, and then just decided to disappear under an assumed name. It does not matter. As long as you can look me in the eye, hit a high note, and do a pirouette, we'll be happy to have you.
We can't teach kids to hate. So what can you do in that situation besides be like, hey, don't worry about all that stuff, kid. I've learned my lesson. Oh, man. Well, I accept you with open arms now that you've learned your lesson.
Nah, man, because I watched Batman the Animated Series. I know what vengeance is. Bro. Get out of here, bro.
All right. Well,
Get out of here, bro.
The only logical way is to teach kids that there are actual like consequences for the actions by incorporating some sort of prison system or incorporating some sort of like punishment to where the aforementioned bad guy suffers before they become.
But Steven Universe had no suffering. They just be like,
no, it was all like, oh shit, you have emotions like me. I'm sorry. All right. Actually, I understand. I understand why you did all these things. You know what? I accept you as the person that you are, and you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person.
And I'm like, Cap. Now that might be just me being an adult.
Don't you understand? The genocide happened because they were angry because of what happened to them in their life. It was not because of true hatred. It was because it was a misunderstanding. They were upset that they lost their loved ones also.
Hey, man, that makes somebody a school shooter right there. Hey, I shot him. I'm sorry, though. I have emotions. Let me go.
Speaking of school shooters,
y'all want to hear my musical?
Speaking of school shooters that should not be let go, Ethan Crumbley. That's the name of the kid I was trying to mention earlier. People have found screenshots of his Instagram that was deleted already. It had very, very disturbing images. Literally, you just take one look and be like, yeah, he might. We got to put him on the list. Right now, all of the like articles and stuff that are talking about him are like, oh, this 15-year-old kid, and they're using like his elementary school picture because he looks innocent in that. Use his fucking mugshot. please, so that we know the state of the person who did all these things, so that people who say, how could a 15-year-old do this, will look at the mugshot and be like, oh, clearly there's some stuff going on there that needs to be addressed by like a therapist or something.
But for some
Clearly
reason,
he was not just some innocent kid and who just decided, I'm going to pick up this gun and shoot somebody.
yeah,
Like,
but for some reason, no. I'm not saying all of the sites, but some of the sites decided to use that image with prayer hands. He's like an 8-year-old choir boy being like, please forgive me, Lord, for I have
bullied.
about to sin. And trust me, we know plenty of school shooters out there who were bullied, but we also know plenty of people out there who were bullied and didn't resort to pulling out the Smith & Wesson, okay? Like, I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. But pushing past that,
it's
y'all
haunting.
find it eerily weird. Y'all find it bizarre that there was a behavioral report that came out on Monday when a teacher in the classroom, said he saw the student, and then a student came to him and said, hey, bro, I heard something and I feel very uncomfortable. She said was disturbing. So what do? They took him to the office and had a conversation with him, school officials, and then left a phone call with his parents. Then the next day, and hours before the shooting, a different teacher in a different, you know how bizarre you have to look in a different classroom to see a student in a classroom that's not yours and go, I saw some behavior that I thought was concerning. So they brought the child down to the office, had a meeting with more officials, called in the parents, and ultimately was determined he'd go back to class. There were multiple chances to stop this from happening, okay? Like, you see something that's truly concerning, and it's not even your classroom, I'm not saying you gotta strip search the kid, but maybe take a look in the bag, you know? Like, if we're, because they're using language that's very, very, very extreme. Like, if I see something that's disturbing or concerning or something that was off kilter, something that we're using the word disturbed, yeah,
right.
You need to check that out. But because
he literally had like old creepypasta images of like what is it, like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and stuff like that. Was it Johnny the Homicidal Maniac or
it's either that or Jeff the Killer, one of them.
Jeff the Killer, yeah. It was like pictures of like Jeff the Killer that were like, you know, made like black and white and like stretched around and all kinds of like weird filters and stuff like that. You know, on his Instagram, just sitting there. Bro, he had a gun target on his Instagram. Anyways, you know, and like it was like he had shit that you would see that was like, okay, this is really like disturbing that he had the wherewithal to be like, I'm going to post this on my Instagram, and isn't this cool? Be like, maybe we should worry about you a little bit, buddy. Hey, what's going on at home, buddy? You know, they're trying to put out this narrative that, oh, he was bullied, and that, you know, like that doesn't fucking excuse picking up a gun and like killing people. Like some of the kids who were at the school at the time literally were filming like TikToks of themselves, like, you know, dealing with the situation while they're in their classrooms, talking about these things because they had the thought in their brain of like, these are going to be my last moments on the earth. So I want people to know what happened so it doesn't get, you know, misconstrued as something else.
Because before I even knew that there was a shooting that was even happening, someone sent me a TikTok and they said, do you believe this? And I click on it, and it's a bunch of kids in a dark room, and then you hear this voice saying, knocking on the door and be like, hey, y'all can come out now. I need y'all to come out. And then, like, they're deliberating on, like, I don't think that's a cop. No, we're not willing to take that risk right now. We're not opening the door. And he's like, I need you guys to come out here right now, bro. And then, like, the students are saying, he said, bro.
Yeah, he said, bro, he's not a cop.
And then, like, so there's that. Could he have been a cop? I don't know. Because the TikTok just ends there. So, like, once again, like, I didn't know that this was, like, you know, DEFCON 1 over here. I didn't know it was, like, a real deal Holyfield type of situation breaking down. But in retrospect, it's like, that's some scary shit. You think your potential could-be murderer is standing outside of 3 inches of wood? and is asking you to come outside? Like, TikTok could be the next live leak, folks. It probably already is in some countries. I'm just saying. This is not like a situation that's like worth playing with, because Ethan Crumley, because of him and his actions, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. There are 4 students who are dead, and 7 others who are wounded. And this is at a high school. Like, these are people who will never even be able to have the virtue, the privilege of becoming an adult. They're just donezo. And the way that they make it seem is he was methodically shooting people indiscriminately, just taking out his aggression on anybody who just so happened to be doing this in his presence. Just breathe it.
Yeah. Like, it really sucks, because this is another one of those things that's gonna, like, we're not gonna talk about this as much as we are now after like 2 weeks, because we're getting used to this stuff.
Oh no, we're not only like you said, you're getting used to it, but like I don't even think we're getting you. I just think we're desensitized. I think we get hit with the sensationalism of wanting to talk about it for like the first 72 hours in which it happens. But then when it's time to actually do something about it, or when it's time to actually, speak for change, the vast majority of people are not wanting to have those conversations. Like, it's just on to the next one. Because I don't know if you know this, but since August 1st, do you know how many school shootings we've had?
Hundreds.
No, just August 1st in this country.
Hundreds.
Okay, relax. It's not hundreds. So,
all right. 50. Am I too high?
Actually, no. You're too high. But it's and I don't want to use the word only here. Okay, it's only 32.
That's still too much. That's definitely too much.
We're averaging 2 a week.
Yeah,
it's not looking good.
It's not.
And it's very strange. But a prosecutor on Thursday repeated that her criticism of the parents of a boy who was accused of killing the 4 students at a Michigan high school, saying their actions went far beyond negligence and that a charging decision would come by Friday. So we'll know by tomorrow if the parents are going to be going down for this too.
I mean, for sure, because like he got the gun from his dad. Like, it was his dad's gun that he took from his dad. Like, yeah, okay, whatever, things happen, kids steal things or whatever. But his dad didn't notice his new gun was missing. The parents didn't notice anything about like the fact that he was so disturbed that he decided to bring a gun to the school and actually shoot people. But you want to know the other thing I don't understand? Now, look, I understand kids. You're probably a lot better at hiding it. You probably have more reasons to hide it, I guess. But, like, your son is on Instagram flexing his gun. And his dad's gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your gun. Like, you get. And you don't know that this man's on Instagram flexing? Like, I'm not saying that, you could check everything, but like if your son is like 15 or younger, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to go through their phone. I'm not saying that you can't trust them. I'm just saying.
No, sometimes you got to follow. You just follow. Follow so you can like show up in there and be like, "Hey, you posted this? Hey, yo, what's going on over there?" just open up the app. Like, oh, you ain't even got to go through their DMs. Just open up the app, see what their username is, close the app, go ahead and make an account. That's just an assumed name. Nothing that even looks like you. Just follow them. Just follow them. And I don't mean stalk them every day. I mean, like, if you see their posts go through the feed and you're like, huh? So that's what you're doing? Nah, man, we got to have a talk about this. Then a lot of this could be avoided. Especially when he's making posts about what he is going to do. That's weird. Strange, even. Because you, as the random person who sees this post, you won't necessarily be like, oh, he's actually about to do this. More than likely, people who did see it were kind of like, Oh, he's fucking around, but he's getting a little too like edgy here with this. Like he's got to stop playing around or whatever. Like they
When
can't
they
just.
look, when they finally checked his backpack, they found a journal where he detailed his desire to shoot up the school and including murdering students. So like, there's something he was cooking up for a minute.
Yeah.
The premeditation is clear here. There is no, if this wasn't no spur of the moment, he woke up on a Wednesday and said, "Yes, high noon." He didn't do that. Whether you want to talk about digital evidence, whether you want to talk about the video, whether you want to talk about the journal, whether you want to talk about the fact he's flexing on social media, there is too much here that says this person been disturbed for some months, maybe even some years. And this was a time bomb that he was cooking for quite some time. And well, here we are.
And the problem is that, like, some people will say, like, oh, why didn't teachers, alert the authorities when they saw that he was, disturbed and blah, blah, this and that? Is because it shouldn't be on them to micromanage all of these kids and, like, make sure that, the ones that seem like super duper disturbing are being watched by the police. So that now, like, the police are taking their hours, away from doing whatever to, like, make sure that this kid is not doing, becoming the next school shooter and all that other like bullshit. It shouldn't be like, the onus shouldn't be on them to investigate this kid's life and like ask other students and stuff and be like, hey, do you know if anything crazy is going on or whatever? The most that they should, be responsible for is being like, hey, boss, maybe you should watch out for this one. He's been getting in trouble a lot. He's been like saying some things, doing some things around me that seem very like, it's making me uncomfortable. So like, let's watch out. And then also being like, hey, kids, if you hear anything about any of your students that may seem like suspicious, let me know or let someone else who's like up in the school's system like know that something might be going down, so we can like handle it accordingly to like prevent this from happening. But they couldn't possibly read his mind. The people who are closest to him are the only ones that could be like, hey, what are you doing?
Well, here's the thing. Even if you did that, it wouldn't work because someone did do that and they said, well, we talked to him and we just sent him back to class. So, I mean, that's damned if you do, damned you don't in this situation. Because a student did that. A teacher did it. Two different people on back-to-back days. That's not just a coincidence, guys.
Yeah, because like, look, if it gets to a point where that many people are reporting this and you are not directly talking to this kid's parents and like, making sure that the parents are actually doing something about it, then that's not good. Like if it seems like this kid is so disturbed that he's going to do something like bad at the school to, to someone at the school, whatever, and the parents are not like even responding to you, or the parents are not like really being receptive towards it, then maybe, just maybe, you you should like contact the authorities to be like, hey, I, have a student at the school who seems very, very disturbed. He has access to firearms. He, sounds like he's going to do something drastic very soon. I just want you to like look into this. Maybe like do a what is it? Wellness check. I think it's called, where the cop shows up to the house and it's like, hey, is everything here? Because and hearing some things, but the sheriff said he didn't hear shit. Who knows if they actually like took it to him? But the sheriff said, I didn't hear anything about this. Everybody's saying that like they knew, but we didn't, so we couldn't have prevented it. Otherwise, we would have done something. We'll see if that's the case. But if it turns out that the police department was informed and they didn't even do like a wellness check to be like, hey, maybe you should make sure not to keep your firearms locked up so your kid doesn't do something wild, because wild shit happens around here or whatever. Then the onus is on the police department for not being better at preventing this sort of thing. Even though people say cops aren't really made to like prevent crimes, they're made to they're taught to like
deal with the aftermath.
Deal with the aftermath. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like it's hard to say like what could have been done to prevent this, but like holy shit, man. Like when you see all the signs, it's like damn, it was pretty obvious. But we all just look at it with hindsight. You can't say that like you were one of the students who were there and they were just like, yeah, he's the one. He's definitely going to do it because all these fucking dumbass kids who like post the same kind of shit, say the same kind of shit, just to like be edgy and get attention on the internet now. And it's hard to like determine who's being real and who's not. You know. It's like what people say about incels, a shit ton of incels will spout out the manifesto like with a quickness, but only a handful of them have actually like gone outside and started like killing people, fighting people, hurting people, or whatever, because they're like, no, like you guys have done this to me. The world has done this to me. I didn't do this to myself. Like, fucking, who knows?
It's real hard to distinguish between who's actually, about that life and who's just doing it for attention. Because, I mean, let's face it, if you go by looks, some of these people who be going off and doing it don't even look the part.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of these people, you might judge a book by its cover. You be like, nah, if he said he was going to do it or she said she was going to do it, I believe him. And being realistic, that person couldn't hurt a fly even if they wanted to.
Exactly.
But that's the times we're living in. So at the very least, make sure that your small children can't circumvent all the gun laws and buy their own gun parts and assemble them and then start shooting people. And I know that sounds like science fiction, but go ahead and look it up. 13-year-old buying gun parts and selling them. I don't know how we got here. The 32nd school shooting we've gotten since August 1st, which is like only what? Not even a full 4 months ago?
Yep.
And here we are, folks. So it's not good out there, kids. It's not good. But in brighter news, Ludwig leaves Twitch. And ironically enough, for better treatment. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that someone's actually leaving because someone's being treated better?
Finally, we can have a concrete conversation on these things that you and I have been talking about for fucking like years now, man. The platform doesn't care about you.
It doesn't matter how big you are. At the most part, you're just another cog in the wheel.
Exactly. Like he's literally one of the like top streamers on the platform, and he basically the most like basic reason why is him being like they didn't really show that they cared about me leaving in the first place. They didn't actually try to like convince me to stay. YouTube did. YouTube cared about me moving, and they cared about me being comfortable on their platform so that I could, produce content and make money for them. So they treated me more like a human being and didn't like say, hey, I got to stream like, 20 hours a day, whatever. Right. So it actually gave him the time to pursue his the endeavors that he ultimately wanted, which he said was like a huge Smash tournament for the Ultimate scene and the Melee scene, which he just flat out said is going to cost at least $1 million. Which went with our discussion with our last episode about Nintendo sponsoring these events, because it would cost $1 million to throw a big tournament for these scenes. And he's literally from the Melee scene. He's from the Smash scene. He appreciates the Smash scene and he wants to do something well for them, but he wouldn't have the time to even like do something like that because of his contract with Twitch. And YouTube was like, don't worry, buddy, we got you. Twitch is just kind of like, I mean, are you streaming for us? Come on, bro. What are you talking about? Get out of here. Like, just keep streaming,
Look,
man.
You gotta understand.
Everything will be fine.
Twitch lost Ninja, Shroud. I mean, now they've lost him to Tatman, and obviously Shroud and Ninja both have come back to the Twitch side of life. But the fact is,
they got rid of the doc.
Anybody can go. Anybody can get that Thanos snap. And they not gonna care. Okay? Like, until you make enough money to basically pay the Twitch bill, which I don't know if you guys know this. Twitch is owned by Amazon.
Yep.
Amazon don't even give a fuck about the people who work there. with the Amazon nameplates on. So you think they're going to care about the subsidiary product known as Twitch? No, they do not care.
Okay. That whole thing, that leak happened, and we got to see that Critical Role was like the channel that made the most amount of money in that 3-month period, right? Critical Role has like some pretty high production quality in their show and whatnot, but Twitch got rid of Dr. Disrespect, who compared to Critical Role, that man's production quality is insane. He literally makes his own music for his stream. Like he has all kinds of like wild transitions and things for his stream to keep it entertaining constantly, not just for his fans, but for people who just pop in and go, "Oh my God, who is this?" That man is a revenue machine for them, and they got rid of him for reasons that they're not even they didn't even tell him. He doesn't know. Like, so Twitch themselves, I don't know who's running the show, but like they're not doing it in the best the most efficient way, even for themselves. Like if their goal is the capitalist goal of like we want to make as much money as possible, they're not doing it properly. Like, yeah, YouTube's like interface and whatnot is pretty messy right now. It's pretty hard to like see who's streaming and stuff, but those things can get fixed, and it seems like Ludwig is going to work with them to actually fix those things to make it like a better home for him, because Twitch does have other places beat in that department, because Twitch was created for that purpose. Twitch was created so that people could have like an ease of like seeing all these streams and whatnot. Justin TV was made so that people could just come in and stream, their lives. They could blog stuff. They could stream TV shows, all that shit. And the interface was made in a way where it's very easy to get to these places and see who's doing what. But that's all Twitch has going for them at this point. Everything else is an L. When you really look at it, like if you're, big streamer Ludwig, you're big streamer Amaranth, you're big streamer Hasanabi, like, whatever. Like you're Tin the Tat Man, like you're really like comparing Twitch to YouTube in your streaming experience. And you know that you're so valuable that wherever you go, you're gonna be totally fine, and they're gonna like you're gonna make a good amount of money because you have the fan base. YouTube is the better option right now. YouTube cares more when it comes to like the streaming, and YouTube is a little bit more lax when it comes to your streaming. You're not gonna get randomly banned on YouTube for something stupid or something that you don't even know about or whatever. YouTube is very transparent about those things.
But you want to know something that I find is really funny?
Oh, what?
If you go to the YouTube page right now, you just pull it up and you're logged in, you go over here to the YouTube app section. You'll see YouTube TV, YouTube Music, YouTube Kids, YouTube Creator Academy, and YouTube for Artists. Now you may be saying, wait, what? Yeah, that's if you go on the top. If you open up the sidebar panel, you'll see your home, your Explore, your subscriptions. If you click Explore and you open that up, you'll see some trending, you'll see music, you'll see movies and shows, you'll see live, and then you'll see gaming. See how live and gaming they're not anywhere near the top. Like they're just there. Yep. So if you click on gaming, right, you'll see top live games. Oh wait, but then you'll see that there's videos, and 90% of what you'll see here are videos.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the live section for YouTube gaming, they're still making sure that the videos are what's on the forefront because they're the videos.
Exactly. Hey, kids, don't you want to see the new Darman video? He's got some games in there. There you go. Darman goes live at some point in his life or whatever. Here you go, kids. There you go.
But there are some channels that are obviously streaming on there, but you have to know where to go to even get to the live streams, because they're not on your homepage. They're not in that top panel bar.
Nope.
You have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the sidebar to get them. It's not good.
It's not. And
I hope that's on the to-do list to get streams some more visibility on the platform.
Well, that's the thing. This move kind of shows that YouTube is actually starting their process to take this more seriously. in the same way that like Facebook did. But boy, Facebook it sucks for them because their big move was to get zero to be a part of it. And then shortly after he got into a bunch of like bullshit that caused him to be like, oh, this is not profitable for us anymore or whatever, right? But fucking, what am I saying? So fucking YouTube is showing that they're taking gaming and like live streaming and all that stuff more seriously because they focus more on the videos because they're the people who are posting videos on YouTube are giving them a lot of like ad revenue, a lot of revenue in general, and they're making a lot of money off of these people. Mr. Beast just posted his Squid Game video. That's a shit ton of money. It's probably a lot more money than a lot of like the top Twitch earners have made in like a week or whatever streaming. But they do know that they could make more money on top of that by making their streaming section like a lot more accessible and a lot easier to find, things like that, so that then they could just start poaching people from Twitch because Twitch is the only competition at this point. I mean, Facebook, who? Twitch is the only competition at this point. Who else is like a streaming platform that has big streamers? What was it? That Xbox one is dead. So
because I know there's that Chinese one. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. There was Stream.me, but those people got doxxed and they said, fuck this, and just closed it down.
Exactly.
It was weird because Stream.me even was sponsoring like players like for esports stuff. And I was like,
Yep.
And well, we saw how that was very short-lived. And there's been various other ones that have been like fly-by-night little startups, but they never really had enough money to keep the gas running, so they hit the curb. Because when you're backed by Google or Amazon, you tend to be able to just have enough money to sustain life, regardless of how mind-bogglingly terrible your decisions are as a business. But when you have that type of money, everyone still is just a cog in the wheel, and life will go on with you or without you.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's just
like
that's just what it is.
YouTube is probably one of the only companies that can actually compete with Twitch when it comes to this department at all, because they don't have to rely on live streaming. They can, they have their whole video section to rely on for real revenue, and then this Twitch thing or this live streaming thing can just be like a side project that can make them more money on top of it. I don't think there's really any other like company that can do that or afford that right now, especially if they're trying to go against Twitch. Twitch, who knows what they're going to do in response to this? They might not care. They probably won't care. A lot of streamers are saying like Twitch probably still wouldn't even care if like Moist Critical left or XUC left or anything like that. They would just we'll just make the new XUC, or hey, Critical Role is still here. Like whatever.
We'll just adapt and overcome.
Exactly. They're like, oh, we got through this when Ninja and Shroud left. We were fine. We had more people, new people, whatever. But Lord knows they're not gonna actually try to expose people to their smaller streamers, so that those can become bigger streamers for them. So who knows, man? Who knows?
I mean, you would hope that at some point they figure it out, but we know. We know that's not the case. I think we all know that until YouTube gets into the gear and poses a severe actual threat to the purple platform is just going to continue to do purple platform things.
Yep.
No matter how many people are negatively affected. I mean, if you think about it and really break it down, let's not act like the hate raids weren't a thing. I know a lot of people aren't talking about them, but like it wasn't even like 2 months ago where this was still happening.
Yeah. Now, how often would you think to see something like that on YouTube at this point in time? That like they have a situation where bots or like people with some hacking capabilities are gonna like show up in like live streams or even in like videos and whatnot, and try to like dox people and shit like that. You think like Google's not gonna let all that fly? They're like, yo, get our top men on this right now.
I mean, when you found out that Twitch's entire website was basically just held up by staples, a hot glue gun, and some rubber bands. And you found out that a lot of their values were stored in plain text and were just easily able to be ripped right off the website, to the point that we can see how much people are getting paid in just regular dollars and cents. Yeah. That should have been a tattletale sign that things ain't as sturdy on a good foundation as a lot of people would have assumed a multi-billion-dollar company's subsidiary would have. But the point is, even with all this negativity in the air, Twitch is still doing Twitch things. Whether it's, oh, what's that? Oh, you've broken the rules 8 or 9 times. Don't worry, we're just gonna give you another 24-hour suspension. It's okay, boo boo. You do you.
I mean, when have we even had like a situation where YouTube had like a huge leak of their information, or at least in like the last like 2 or 3 years?
Not that I can recall, but I do know that like a lot of people have been getting upset at YouTube over a lot of things over the years, me included. But it's never been anything to where I felt like our personal information was insecure. Now, granted, there
more
is
of like overcorrections for
now.
things.
Granted, there is the thing that I talked about that I don't think has gotten enough traction to talk about. But you can steal people's usernames on YouTube.
Yeah,
because once I found out that exploit, and nobody seems to have given a fuck. I don't know if maybe it's different now. It was a year ago. But I could literally take people's YouTube channel names, like, you know, that custom URL where you get youtube.com/insert username. And this would work if someone had an older YouTube account where back in the day you signed in with a username, not an email. This is before Google Plus. If you had any of those old grandfathered legacy channels where you signed in with a username and you never quote unquote made your custom URL because your URL was your username, I can make another Google Plus account, and whenever I unlock my custom URL, which I think is at 100 subscribers now, but you could then just put in someone who has one of those usernames and take it from them. Funnily enough, on my Black Prion account, someone did that to me. Like, if you go to youtube.com/Black Prion, it actually doesn't bring you to my channel anymore. Like, someone did that shit to me. Like, if you go right now, type in youtube.com/Black Prion. Go there. It takes you to some other user named Ninja Bread God, which is another one of my names, but it's not me. Somebody took the Black Prion name, then used that account to take the Ninja Bread name, and now some dude named Eric Aranda Michel, who I have no idea who this is.
But do you still have like the credentials for those accounts that you could like log in and like, you know,
yes,
whatever?
No. Listen. They've changed me to youtube.com/C/NinjaBreadGod and youtube.com/C/Black Prion. But if you type in youtube.com/Black Prion or youtube.com/NinjaBreadGod, it takes you to this Eric Aranda Michelle person.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, sir, Bob. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of those things where it's like, how do they even go about fixing that? Besides, like, preventing people from making like custom URLs like that.
I don't even know where I would even begin to do that, because I don't know how they've done their infrastructure to build the website. So
yeah, same.
But the fact of the matter is, you can steal people's usernames, and I just hope it doesn't happen to any of you out there, guys.
Me too. Yeah. My channel has different names, so me too. But also, you don't want to steal my channel. I mean, like, nobody watches my videos, so you're not really gonna get much out of it.
Hey, man, another channel to be another bot, and then they view bot their own stream, and that's how they get to YouTube. I'm kidding. View botting does not work, guys. It doesn't. 9 times out of 10, the view botting story ends up with, wow, this dude's got a lot of viewers. Nobody's talking. No interaction.
Yep.
Nobody's liking anything. This is suspect. You're a view botter. I'm leaving. And then the channel just goes up in smoke. That's typically how it goes.
I mean, YouTube lets you like pay for that now. They just make your video like an ad that pops up for people and like forces them to watch it. So
I mean, TikTok's even indoctrinated that into its systems now. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but you can actually just pay for your video to be exposed to people. Like, not even as an advertisement. It doesn't even affect your organic growth.
mhm.
So the pay for visibility thing, it's going universal this week. I think even Twitter's about to indoctrinate it, isn't it? They're about to adopt that.
Twitter's about to do it, and then also Twitch.
Yeah, because Twitch said they were doing it, and people got upset. People were absolutely losing their minds, and don't get me wrong, rightfully so. I don't think that you should just be able to pay your way to the top in order to be on the front page. But I mean, let's face it, y'all act like that's not happening right now.
Exactly.
Like when people get those specific sponsor deals with AT&T, they get keys to the front page. Like maybe I'm saying too much, but trust me, the people with the money can get you on the front page regardless.
I mean, you ever wonder why, you look in there and you see someone who has 30 views who's on the homepage, see someone who has 0 views who's on the homepage?
I mean, those are very, very rare occasions, but like, I do
No.
understand. It's not?
It's happening right now. Herman Lee has 22 viewers and he's on the front page right now. But you can say, oh, well, that's Herman Lee. I mean, we all know who that guy is. There's literally someone who's on the page who has 0 views.
Wait, hold on. I see somebody promoted. Who's Mushmum? Who is this? Okay, they have 22 viewers. Is this who you're talking about? They're playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
This streamer uses keyboard and mouse featuring Mark Wahlberg and Kim Kardashian with a C.
Yep.
What? Hey, look, it says promoted, so y'all knew what the deal was. Y'all knew what it was. Let's not act like we didn't know, but alas. I think we're going to end it with our final topic of the evening, which is Halo Infinite. Some of y'all may have been like, oh, Halo Infinite, that game comes out again in like 5 days, right? Because the multiplayer's out and then the campaign. Let me tell you something about this, right? Let me just fill y'all in on how I feel about Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is an above average shooter that feels good in the hand, feels fun, but it has so many roadblocks that it's put on itself. It's got so many self-inflicted wounds. It's inhibiting its growth. It's stunting itself from the jump because so many damn things. So many individual things that make the game kind of a headache to play. And we'll start off with the gameplay. First of all, I don't know if it's the server tick rate or how it is that the inputs are being stored on the server, but that shit is ass. There have been multiple videos that have showcased that what you're seeing in game and what's actually happening on the server are two entirely different stories. Not even in the same genre, completely different books. There are videos that showcase what it showed in the theater replay, where you go back and see what the server was displaying for you, where on the client side, they were in a warthog, they drove off a cliff, landed in the water, and were just sitting there floating. But what the game thought was happening was that their warthog was stuck on a box and their tires couldn't move, so therefore they were just sitting on top of a box as free kills. Meanwhile, my man was in the deep with no way to actually get back because, I mean, let's face it, he's in the water. He there's nowhere to go, though. It's like 16 stories up. There's no way he could jump back. There's no way he can get into the fight. And that is why many of you may feel as though you'll see somebody whose shields are broken and they're flashing, and then you shoot him in the head twice, and they're not dying. They're still running towards you. This is also why you may feel like you shot at somebody and you got behind a corner, you slid, you fell downstairs, but then you're still getting shot and you're still getting shot, and then you die well beyond the fact that you know that this person could have had no line of sight on you anymore. You know you were behind the corner and this person apparently curved the bullet and it went down some stairs and it still killed you. There's a reason why you feel that way, because the server sucks. This is why sometimes when you think that, oh no, I see this poor fool and I'm going to run him over with my warthog. And then you hit them, and then they just kind of do that thing where they slide off the front of your car, but they don't get splattered. Or sometimes you feel like you're able to hijack a plane, a Banshee, a Hornet, or I guess it's a Wasp in this game, or any other vehicle before it actually got close to you, but you see the button prompt. That's why. Because the servers are in some dire straits. They are down horrendous, okay? That's the first thing. I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, but if you have, talk to them. Just giving me the head nod?
I mean, like, look. Have you ever gotten in a situation where you've turned? Well, first off, you got full shield, right? You turn, you look, you're dead. You gotten hit once. How did this happen? Oh, well, that guy must have had a sniper. But wait, that kills like that? Oh, I guess so. Oh, that guy must have had very good aim. Wait, but headshots don't really matter until my shield is down. Wait, what?
I mean, if he's got a sniper, you get headshot. You're just dead. I'm telling you.
Yeah, if he's got a sniper, okay, fine, I understand. Wait, that guy didn't have a sniper. What the fuck is going on?
I also learned skewer headshots kill through overshield. That was a very interesting thing for me to find out when I hit somebody with that, because he definitely had overshield.
That's
that man got cooked. But regardless, one of the other things I want to talk about that just like this one actually kind of chaps my ass. I'm not gonna lie. I got to put on some Vaseline on my butt cheeks for this one. So I don't know if you guys remember through all the promo material, but there was a very specific thing where they harped on, they wanted the players to be able to express themselves. They wanted to make sure that character customization was not going to be something that was going to be a locked feature or that was going to absolutely 100% just drain the player of all of their monetary worth in order just to get some cool customization options for their Spartan. They wanted us to be able to 100% fully experience what it's like to be in the workshop making our own armors for, as they said, hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of different armor combinations and permutations to give ourselves a unique look amongst the player base, right? You remember that? You remember that whole thing, that whole spiel they went on? Well, I don't know if you guys know this, and I understand that we're in the beta, and I'm sure many more armor sets will be unlocked once December 8th hits. But unfortunately, with what we have right now, there's about 12 different armor sets in the game.
Yep.
And I know what you're saying. Oh, well, those are just the armor sets. What about the basic pieces? Well, the basic pieces, for the most part, there's probably about 30 to 40 of those, which is significantly less than we've had in previous Halo games. But the fact that we have them, while nice, they don't have the custom color options available on the pieces. And you may be saying, oh, what do you mean? Like you just can't color them individual? Oh, you could probably color them in sets, right? Well, wrong again. You have color palette ways, or colorways for short, in which it's the entire armor set color palette is tied to one item. What's that? You want to have red visor? You can do that. But if you want to have red armor with a red shoulder pad, with a red kneecap, but only the right kneecap, you need to get the specific colorway that does specifically that. Oh, what's that? You want to have it on the right shoulder, a little bit of red, but then you want to have pink on the left kneecap? Doesn't exist. Get fucked. You better hope that they make that a specific colorway. Otherwise, GG's no reason. You're not gonna be able to do that. Now, maybe saying, okay, well that kind of sucks. Well, how many colorways are there? Well, there are about 4 or 5. But some of y'all be saying, but no, I saw this cool thing with Cloud9. I saw this thing with Phase and Opti. I saw all these cool ones. Like, what about those? Well, all of those are tied to very specific armor sets. And you cannot change the armor pieces at all and keep the colorway. Somebody else saying, wait, what? Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them you have to be default Spartan all the way through to have that color palette. Just the color palette. If you change the color palette, you lose the armor. If you want to change one specific armor piece, you lose the colorway. And there's no way to fix that right now. Now, the thing that makes me kind of upset is when you're going up against the bots in the bot modes, where you're playing against, unnamed, nondescript bots. they have the ability to do all the things that, you know, you should be able to do with your armor with full customization with no limitations.
They sure do.
Now, does that mean that once December 8th gets here, they're going to give us the keys to the customization? Maybe. But this is the very same Halo Infinite that is charging us $10 for these very specific colorways that you cannot transfer to other armor pieces. Yes, that's right. You have to pay for a lot of these with real money, and you still have no flexibility with them. And even if you want to peel back that layer and go one step further, there are armor permutations, specific helmets that you can only have in specific armor sets. And if you want to, let's say, pay $20, $30, and up to $40 for some of them, you spend $40, and you're like, oh, well, this will go good with this shoulder piece. You're wrong, because the minute you try to change just one small parameter, you lose the entire armor set. Because all the pieces and the colorways are all holistically locked to each other. And somebody at 343 Industries thought this was a good idea. Now, maybe this is a Microsoft thing. Maybe this is a Microsoft call. Maybe we can see how much we can suck the soul out of your community before we try to right the ship, so to speak. But it's pretty much a shit show. It's pretty much a shit show. It's cascading shit.
Yeah. Honestly, you said it all perfectly. Like it's pretty much a shit show. And unless they address this, unless they at the very least say, "Hey, we heard your complaints or your concerns, and we are going to address this within the coming, couple of weeks or months or whatever. We're going to actually address this." Unless they fucking say something about it, at the very least, we're just kind of stuck with it. And it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, that's just how video games are now. I mean, like, you got battle passes and you pay for battle passes, and then you get whatever is in the battle pass and stuff. And it's like this is the lowest of the low when it comes to that. Because
where's the other thing? Here's the thing. Since you brought up the battle pass, I completely forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you something about the battle pass, okay? Like, this is like, y'all will think that I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm not. There is a free armor in the game, right? Free armor that looks like this, right? We're just gonna say it looks like an Xbox Series X controller, right? We're just gonna say it looks like this, right? See how it looks? Yeah, you guys see how it looks. Anyways, you look at that and you're like, okay, that's cool. It's pretty sick, I guess. Nice little colorway, nice little black on black action. So, why is it that you have to pay in the battle pass and get to level 96 to get this? Yes, I pulled this out from underneath this fucking board over here, but yes, it's dusty as fuck. But all things aside, if you look at them, I got to get 90 levels into a battle pass to get a recolor.
Yes.
That is slight. And when I say so slight, when I say it's so slight, it's like these little nipple tassels, these little LED strips, and they're red instead of blue. That's it. 90 levels of the battle pass, and that's what you get.
But hey, man, if you're playing the game, it's not that big of a deal, right? Because, when you're playing the game, you get the experience. And as long as you keep playing the game, you'll get to that level before you know it.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand they're listening to us to some aspects because, they actually changed how the XP system works. Because before, it didn't matter. You could have been God himself on a 40 bomb, dropping just absolute content everywhere. I'm talking about dunking on every opponent you've ever seen, eviscerating them, and you're still getting 50 XP. The fact that there's not much outside of the little side quest and little achievement things, there is no performance-based XP. Like, you don't get more XP for winning.
Let's talk about those quests, those achievements now as well, because the Fiesta event is happening. Well, actually, the Fiesta event is wrapping itself up when it comes to those.
I think it's already over because the armor set's not even there, I don't think.
Yeah, the armor set, right? You had to actually do certain quests in the armor to get the armor set, but those quests show up on top of the regular quests. So you had to do your regular quest first, before you could actually get those quests and then finish those quests so that you can get the armor piece. But you only had a certain amount of time to do those quests to get the armor piece. But you had quests like oddball, hit somebody with the ball 3 times, or kill 3 people with the ball. Now, you can't choose the game that you play, or you can't say, I want oddball, put me in queue to find the next oddball game.
Yeah, right now
And
all the queues are one big queue,
yeah,
and
one
you only
giant
can choose
playlist.
between big team, regular, and ranked. So you could theoretically get one that's like kill people with the oddball 3 times. But you could play 10 games and it's always Slayer, capture the flag, or single flag.
Right.
You could get one that says kill people with the fusion coils. And then you spend 8 maps and you never get the map with the fusion coil. Because you don't get to choose any of this. There's no way to filter the playlist.
Yep.
And I know what you're saying. Well, even if you do get it, like, it's not like it's impossible, right? Well, sometimes you don't even get the quest. Because all the quests are in like an RNG rotation. So you could do the 3 regular quests. You get them all off the board, and then one of them gets replaced by another regular quest. Then you get those 3 off the board, then it's another regular quest. And then you're 14 games in, ready to be done with your session. Because 14 games, that's a pretty long session. You're pretty much done. Then you get your first event Fiesta quest, in which you have to play the Fiesta playlist specifically.
Exactly.
And in the Fiesta playlist specifically, you then have to get oddball. So, like I said, it was a nightmare. And the armor itself, once again, had these really cool shin guards, had really cool like arms. The helmet and the torso I thought was kind of stupid, but the arms were pretty neat. Unfortunately, all these pieces are not separatable. You have to wear the entire thing, which means anybody who has the armor set has the exact same colorway.
Exactly.
You all have the same visor, the same helmet. You all look the same.
And like these are things that can be solved so easily. Like with the quest thing. The quest would not be as big of a deal if you just made it so that I could just say I want to play oddball, or maybe I say I want to play oddball on these maps. Anything like that ahead of time. I believe you don't even get to like vote for maps. Like holy shit, take something, bite off of Call of Duty, please. Like at the very least, make it so that like you could be like, it's this, and this map before you get into the game. Which one do you want to do? The majority of you want to play. If all these people are trying to do certain quests, and only 1 or 2 of those maps have the weapons that you need for the quests, boom, you get to pick them. But no, it's just like, random game, random map. There you go, the Halo experience. Like. We've evolved. The combat has evolved since then. Like come on, like what are we doing? Just give me the option to choose, and you will not hear bullshit about these things. Give me more customization items, or give me a fucking color palette thing that I could do to be like, I earned these armor pieces. Let me just spray paint this right here. Like what?
But here's the thing I don't understand. They made these problems. Because this was fixed in 3. It was fixed in Reach. Halo 4, this wasn't an issue. Halo 5, say what you want about Halo 5. The amount of different armor pieces they had in that game was mesmerizing. And then somehow they were just like, well, we're giving away the multiplayer for free, so we got to rob you somehow. And it's like,
what the fuck?
No, you don't.
Like, I didn't ask for this.
Y'all decided to do this. And unfortunately, when we talk about these things, I just feel as though it kind of sucks because we're at a point now where, if we're being honest, people are paying for this. And every time you spend $1 on this practice, you're basically telling them it's okay. And trust me, the executives at Microsoft, let's face it, folks, unless they get hard data that shows that no one's buying it, well, they're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
because money talks. Everything else is bullshit, and it walks.
And that's the problem here because campaign is coming out. Campaign is the thing that you'll actually pay for the game. People are going to buy the campaign because one, they want to see what this game is going to be about story wise, and two, they're actually being told through the grapevine that the campaign is actually a very, very great experience. So people are going to spend what, like $60 to see if the campaign is good enough. I mean, I'm gonna wait. I'm good. I don't got that Halo itch like that. I've got the multiplayer when I want to play it, and then that's it.
Yeah, but you want to hear something? But you want to hear something tragic?
What?
The game doesn't launch with co-op.
Yeah, co-op doesn't come until May.
Yeah, May 22 at the earliest, they say. And then they followed that up by saying Forge comes months later. What that tells me, this game wasn't ready to be released. Y'all just wanted to get it out before holiday season because y'all realize if you look at the video game release schedule, there ain't shit coming out in the holiday. Mm-hmm. So just releasing it during the holiday, it's basically a free dub. Name me one game that's coming out this month. Name me one. Chat, YouTube comment section. Name me one game that's coming out this month without looking it up. Mm-hmm. That isn't a re-release or a port. And some of y'all are going to be scratching your head like, damn. That's why Halo Infinite is coming out now, because they know they have no competition. There's no one to cock block them. There's no one to stifle their growth. This is all them. But I digress.
I mean, it's also the end of the quarter. So,
yeah, this is the Q4 wrap up. Not to mention, in a few days, we're going to have the giant heaping nonsense that is the Game Awards again. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the Game Awards is nothing more than the way for the industry to tell you what else is coming out that you may not know about, but you might have some interest in. Because let's face it, no one cares about the awards. And it's not because the awards necessarily suck. It's just due to the simple fact that we do not have any influence over it at all. Because if you look at the Game Awards website and they tell you how it breaks down, 90% of the influence and the score and the weight of the voting is in the hands of their jury panel on site. 10% of it is for all of us at home who vote online. What does this mean? Outside of a tiebreaker that needs to be solved between the jury, our votes do not matter worth a lick. So if they feel as though it's in their best interest from a monetary point of view, whether it's just because they have a veiled interest in seeing a specific game do well, or the fact they know that if they give a certain game an award, that it'll drive their ratings and interactions and social media, influence points up, whether any of those interests, anything that you could think of where it would benefit them to give a game an award, that game is going to get the reward regardless of how many of you vote for some game that you think truly deserves it. This is also the Game Show Award that will have 3 games from the same category be in the Game of the Year running, but then announce the winner of that category. It's like one of the first awards in the show. So it's like, okay, let's just say for the sake of the argument, right, that Psychonauts 2 and Metroid Dread are in the same category for like adventure game, right? 2D adventure game, I guess Psychonauts is 2D, but just, adventure game, right? Whatever. And then let's say Psychonauts 2 beats Metroid Dread. And then in Game of the Year, it's like, why is Metroid Dread even here? Psychonauts 2 already beat it in its own category, so what? We know Metroid Dread ain't winning. Game of the Year, that just doesn't make sense. But, that it is what it is. It's unfortunate. I don't know why they do it. But I think at that point, it would probably be better if Game of the Year was just the people who won the categories. All of you are up for Game of the Year. But you know how it goes.
Yep. But hey, man, have you heard about the rumor that the MK game is going to get announced at the Game Awards on December 9th? Aren't you? Oh.
I'm good. That's all I got to say about that is I'm good.
Yeah, we'll see.
We are on a wait and see basis right now.
Is anyone going to say fighting games at this point? You know.
DNF the duel.
All right. Well, I'll resign. I guess. DNF the duel. Come on, man.
Hey, look, man, I like Dungeon Fighter, man.
I mean, sure, the character designs are nice, but it looks like Grand Blue, and Grand Blue is fine. Grand Blue is
Here's the thing. I never played Grand Blue. Don't rain on my parade.
no, it's fine. The main reason you didn't play Grand Blue is because it launched like right before COVID, basically, and now to buy and play that game like optimally or whatever, you'd be spending a lot of money because you have to buy the game in 2 season passes. Like if you want just the base roster, then sure, you get to see all those lovely spaces. And who wants to boot up their game and see like locks or grayed out pictures and all that shit? It's very demoralizing to start the game and then see that you don't have all these cool characters that are added to it now. Like,
could you imagine if could you imagine someone downloaded Street Fighter 5 today and like not Championship Edition, no DLC, and they just opened it up and they saw like 2 rows of 6 and then like 2 rows of 15 of just silhouettes. Actually, no, it's not even silhouettes. You can barely see them, and then they have locks on top. They actually have lock symbols on top of them.
Yep, Street Fighter 5 and Tekken do the same thing. I've seen Dragon Ball Fighters base roster only, no DLC, no Android 21, no blues. And my eyes have been scarred. Like I don't want it. I don't want it. But you know, you have to spend at least $80 on a game to get all those things now. Even though games like that have been out for a while, Grand Blue is still a game that costs like $30 or $40 for the base game, and then you got to buy the season passes that are like another additional like $10 to $20 a pop each. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's
that
tough,
game is
man.
good. That game actually plays really well. It's really good. Like it would have been perfect to get new people into the FGC because the way the game is played is very good for new players. Because you know you have your very basic like controls, your very basic like combo structure and things like that. Specials have like basic inputs and stuff, but they're still like layers of deep fighting game like mechanics behind it that allow you to have like a great meta game behind it, and it rewards people who are like have good fundamentals. But that game fucking got destroyed by COVID and the fact that it's online is booty. So DNF, who knows?
Maybe
it seems like they're
someday.
going the same route. Maybe someday.
Where's the thing? I don't know like how they're gonna like vary up the system. I hope it's good. I'm praying that it's good. But at the same time, I know in my bones, people have already stopped playing Guilty Gear. There's no way people are just gonna come to DNF and stay. Like it's just, like I'll play it, I'll have fun, but like I know what it is. It'll be the new hotness for like 21 days, and then like Guilty Gear will get a new character. Bandai Namco will announce something for Dragon Ball Fighters. Something will happen, and then like Melty will get an expansion pack, and then like the DNF did. Like I've come from the future, and I've already seen it. I already know. But I think that's
only Marvel
gonna wrap it up for this week.
Can save us. Okay, so yeah, that's
Lord.
it. That's it for us. We're wrapping this up. We're getting rid of all of it. Don't forget to tell your friends that the internet was a mistake. Don't forget to tell your friends to tell me that if they want to hear more about how the internet is a mistake, they should just request certain topics and I will talk about all of them. I'll talk about anything that you want. I'll make any video that you want. I actually thought about making a video about the hard times of RJ Burger, and then I was like, who's looking for this? Who's gonna watch this? Because most of you don't remember that it's a show about a boy and his giant penis and his problems of being a white boy with a giant penis. Yes. Anyways,
why do these things exist?
Stay safe out there. All kinds of wild shit is happening. Stay safe out there. Don't open your Tor browser and go to the wrong websites. Don't dump all your money in cryptocurrency because
Mm-hmm.
that you may not get what you want from it.
Hey
Uh, you
man,
know,
you open the show up saying you want to be like your boy Elon Musk. Yeah, get into
Look at me, bro. Look,
cryptocurrency.
look at me. Do I look like I could actually turn out like Elon Musk? Nah, man.
Nah, man, you don't have that suitcase. You don't have that money in the brain suitcase, bro.
I don't. I don't have the suitcase. I don't have Tesla. I don't have Grimes. I don't have the ability to get Grimes to talk to me. Nor I don't know. That
Hey,
seems like that'd be a hard conversation. Um,
hey man, one day you will adopt yourself into white privilege, and then you too can take over the world. That
so yeah.
there's the sack right there,
Anything,
man. Go get it, man.
anything, anything you want to say? But
Nah,
because
man. DNF is gonna come and it's gonna go. That's about all I got. Hopefully, December 8th actually brings us some Halo Infinite content that's worth really digging our teeth into. Because don't get me wrong, there is the skeletal remains of something that is amazing here. Like the
yeah,
gameplay wise, it's good. I feel like the guns play well and all that stuff. But the fact that the servers are out of whack and the customization sucks, two big dampers, two gigantic L's, and also bring it in, guys. Just bring it in. I know you ain't released this game with like this many maps and that's it.
yeah.
Because there ain't no way. Because you got power plant, you got bazaar, you got the indoor botanic garden.
You got the one map for the big arena stuff.
Oh wait, no, you got the. It's not sand trap, but there's a map from Halo 2. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. It's got sand around it and it's got the two bases. But that one. So you have like 4 regular maps. And then you have the big map. Actually, no, you have 2 big maps. And that's it. There's one that has the lift that takes you up and like the big hole in the middle and the big base on one side and the tower on the other side.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then there's the other one that's more symmetrical. Where you typically get power cell on that one. You can get power cell on both, but there's one where you both have the same exact base on each side. So yeah, I think there's like 6 maps. No. Technically, there's a 5th map because that other map that's very asymmetrical. Because there's one that has like a base with the scaffolding, and then you go across the one with the fusion coils on it where you could throw them at people. So yeah, those are your 7 maps. This ain't Halo 1. This ain't Halo 1, guys.
It's not.
Because you want to know what
Halo Combat Devolved.
I mean, because you want to know what the sad part is?
What?
Halo 1 had more maps.
Yep.
That's wild, ain't it?
That's the state of video games right now, man. Because people will buy it. Look, Fortnite is out here trying to teach y'all how to really sell these games the way that you want to, the right way, like the way that you want to make it successful and entertaining for everybody involved. And then they're like, no, that Fortnite thing, they're doing too much over there. If we do less, they'll still love us. We don't fucking love you.
And pay us more. But all that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Y'all be safe. Have a great set of games and an even better day. Internet was a mistake. And yeah, see you guys when the Omniman variant takes over. What if coronavirus is the anti-life equation?